Welcome to another episode of Off the Carousel here on the Field of 68. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by a guy I've known for a long time, the new head coach at Holy Cross, none other than Dave Paulsen. Dave, what's going on, man? Happy to have you here. Congratulations on the new job.
Thank you, Rob. It's great to be on and great to be at Holy Cross. A great school. I've had tremendous respect for Holy Cross from afar, and even more respect now that I've had a chance to be here for a couple months.
So talk me through why Holy Cross was the place that you decided to take the job at.
Well, one, the tradition of success here. Bob Cousy played here. There's national championship banner. There's NIT championship banner, and then there's just been phenomenal players and success here. And then I think the second thing is it fits me. I think where I had the most success and where I had the most personal fulfillment was coaching in the Patriot League when I was a head coach at Bucknell. And I think the opportunity to build like a super competitive team, a team that hopefully wins Patriot League championships and is regionally and nationally relevant at a place where you understand the whole big picture of academic and athletic success. I think it's a blend. I love the kids I'm able to coach here, and I think the future is really bright.
So you mentioned your time at Bucknell. You were there for, I believe it was 7 seasons. I think you
Yep.
won 4 Patriot League regular season titles. You made a couple NCAA tournaments. You guys were the program in the Patriot League when you were at Bucknell. So what is it going to take for you to be able to bring Holy Cross to have that level of success?
Well, I mean, I think we have some of the ingredients already. Um, uh, we have tradition. We have the academic pedigree, like just a transformational academic experience for the guys. What's changed since I coached in this league is the facility upgrades at Holy Cross, which are nothing short of extraordinary. The practice facility is state of the art, unbelievable weight room, film room. So, you can tell where commitment is by where money goes. And there's a commitment to being really, really good. And so then it comes down to, we got to get the right guys on the team, and you got to recruit really good players who embrace what Holy Cross is. And I think we've got a really good staff. It's going to take us a little bit of time. Like we need to upgrade our roster, to be quite candid. But I like some of the improvements we've made even since April, since I've gotten here, and I think we can do it.
So I think what's really interesting about you getting back in as a head coach is that your time when you were at Fordham kind of spans like the changing eras of college basketball, right? Your last 2 years at Mason, one got canceled because of the COVID season. The other one was a COVID year where there were no fans and travel restrictions and games were. It was a very weird year in college basketball. Now you come back and you got NIL. You got immediately eligible transfers. You got to spend your whole day in the portal. Does it feel different now being a head coach compared to what it was back in like 2020 and 2021?
Well, I think it's different. I think the environment's different. But I think the most important thing is you got to make the main thing the main thing. And the main thing still is and needs to be finding really good kids who fit your culture, who are good players, and coaching them to be as good as you can be. I think it remains to be seen. I would like for Holy Cross to be portal resistant. I don't think we can be portal proof. I don't think that's a thing anymore. But can we be as portal resistant where we're recruiting kids who are not just coming here for a basketball experience? Basketball is really, really important and pivotal, but so is the academic experience. So is the career mentoring and networking opportunities. And so the goal is you do that and you give those kids the absolute best experience in that 1 year as you can. I don't know, the evolution, the development of guys for 4 years. I don't know. Would a Mike Muscala have stayed at Bucknell in the immediate eligibility and NIL era? I don't know. but I'm sure a lot of schools would have been able to throw a lot of money his way that wasn't the case at the time. So, I don't know if anyone can really say for sure they know how the NIL landscape, what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 years. I do think, we're going to be aggressive and figure out a way to make us really competitive in a way that fits with the mission of Holy Cross, and what that is and how it works itself out, is still for sure a work in progress.
So you mentioned Mike Muscala, and I do think that is a fascinating talking point when it comes to programs that are at like the Patriot League's level, right? That's what high majors do. They go down, they find the best guys, they go look and see who's averaging 17 points per game on a team that finished third in this conference. Yeah, you know what? We need someone in that spot. Let's go get them. How do you navigate as that as a coach? Is it something where you're going to say, look, we are going to develop you, and if a bigger program comes along, then they're going to scoop you up and you can get better players that way? Or is it something where you just kind of have to deal with it as a coach? Like what is your mindset when it comes to dealing with that?
I think the goal, no, I don't want to develop them and let them be scooped up, for sure. And I think the goal is that we have such a tight bond that they can see the pathway to player development. They can see a system that fits them. They can see a relationship with the coaching staff. And I think they can see an alumni community that you can join that, to some degree, our big NIL money is going to come after graduation. That's what Holy Cross graduates have gone on to exceptional careers. We want to be competitive in that space, while they're in college, for sure. And then I think, to be quite candid with you, Rob, I can talk to my own personal experience. Like I did what I'm going to try to encourage those guys not to do. Where I left the Patriot League, I went to the Atlantic 10, and I was the most fulfilled. I had the best fit in the Patriot League. And so I think fit is really, really important. And certainly there's enough cautionary tales of the guy who leads the Patriot League or similarly situated conference, goes to the Power Five, and, the minutes are way down, the stats are way down. There's been plenty of studies. We'll have all the analytics for those guys, when they're in potential being poached.
So you mentioned your time at Mason not being the best fit. What I think is really interesting about your career, and one of the reasons why I really respect you, is I don't think you were an assistant coach since 1990, if I'm not mistaken, right? You've been a head
Yep.
coach for a very long time. And then after you lost the job at Mason, you went back and you took a special assistant job at Fordham, and then you were an assistant this past season. Why did you decide to kind of get back in at that level? A lot of guys in your shoes might just hang it up, might just say, you know what, I'm going to go be a real estate developer now. I'm going to go do something else. Why did you decide to get back in?
Have you been talking to my wife? She, she had the exact same question. You know what? And I did a lot of soul searching. This is what I love to do. This is what I think I've been called to do. I go to work in shorts and a t-shirt every day. I'm coaching basketball, I'm thinking basketball. But beyond that, you like to think I've had a chance to impact the lives of young people. And so it's what I love to do. And when I was let go at Mason, I said, okay, I want to continue to learn and grow. And to me, the two best programs and coaches on the Eastern Seaboard, just from where I sat, were Jay Wright and Tony Bennett.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, can I learn from either Jay Wright or Tony Bennett? And that didn't avail itself. I'm like, all right, next best thing is to learn, from one of their disciples. And so the opportunity to work with Kyle Neptune at Fordham was a fascinating experience for me. It was fun. It was reinvigorating. After 27 years of kind of being my own boss and, kind of learning, whatever learning I did was kind of ad hoc, going to a clinic or watch a video or round tabling with other coaches. but to really immerse myself in a different way of doing things was fascinating. And then the chance the next year to work as an assistant for Keith Ergo and watch what he did, which was in all honesty as good a coaching job has been done in certainly in the A10. For Fordham to win 25 games and finish tied for second in the A10 is like a phenomenal experience. So it was really, hopefully I was able to have some impact in a positive way on the program, but I know I grew and benefited from it way more than I would have ever imagined.
Yeah, Keith is one of my favorite guys to watch on the sideline because he always has on those really fancy shoes. And when he starts like running up and down the sideline, you could see him like sliding on the shoes on the court. It's always entertaining to watch him. I think calling him a ball of energy is probably a fair way to phrase it. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
he makes coffee nervous. You know what I mean? I mean, he's got a ton of energy. He's exciting. And it's so funny when I would talk to my former assistant coaches, you know, who all thought I was a little bit insane at the time. I'm like, yeah, I got to keep Ergo to stay calm. And they're like, what? You're the guy who has to be keeping him calm. But it was a lot of fun, and he's done a phenomenal job there.
What did you learn? Like did you learn anything about yourself? Did you learn anything about the profession? Did you have like any epiphanies, realizations going back to being the guy one seat down on the bench?
You know, I mean, in the process of being one seat down, but also even just like contemplating what am I going to do is like, okay, what's really important? Like, and I am uber competitive. I want to win. I think, you know, I'm laser focused all the time, and recruiting and coaching. But at the end, it's just like, it's the relationships you build with the kids. It's why I coach. And I think sometimes you always need that jolt of reality. Okay, why do you really coach? It's so easy to get caught up in the thick of thin things and trying to got to win this game or do this film prep or whatever, get that next recruit. So I think that was good. And I think so that was an epiphany, if you will. I think, I think I'll be a little more patient as a head coach now. Because sometimes as assistant coach or as an advisor, things would drive me crazy, but it wasn't my place to lose my head. And, you know, I saw that like sometimes the best thing to do is just let things resolve themselves. So I think I'll be a little more patient. And certainly one thing that I think is clear that was a staple of Jay Wright's program, and Kyle and Keith have certainly embraced it, is just spending quality time with the guys on the team outside of the basketball, and how important it is and how important the team building aspect is to have a successful program.
I think it's the comparison between Holy Cross and Fordham um, is really interesting because they both, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're both kind of in the same situation, right? Not necessarily the most recent success when it comes to college basketball, a lot of tradition when it comes to what the program's been. And they're also programs in cities that have a lot of other stuff to do. And what Keith did, getting people invigorated about the program and excited about the program and bringing people in. I mean, Fordham, for people that don't watch A10 basketball, Fordham was the best environment in the sport that included VCU and included Dayton in that conference. How do you do that with Holy Cross, and what are you taking with you from that experience, and how you kind of develop the fan base and the support and the home environment?
Well, and you're right. Like when I coached in the A10 and we would go to Fordham to save time, we would just have the fans introduce themselves as starting five because there was nobody there. And by the end, I mean, those kids were camped out for 2 hours before the game. There may or may not have been some adult beverages served. I don't know. It certainly smelled like it when they came into Rose Hill. And, you know, there are a lot of factors. One, Rose Hill is a small environment. So, like, to me, it's perfect. I mean, they were doing some renovations, so they only sat 1,800, but that was a phenomenal atmosphere. I think Keith was really, really good about engaging the alumni community, which is something I've spent a lot of time doing now. I do think here in Worcester, there is a active Worcester community that really wants to see the men's basketball program have success. But I think the untapped potential here at Holy Cross that Keith really tapped into at Fordham was the student body presence. And part of it was something as simple as we had a couple of senior managers who lived in a house with some other guys, and they just coerced them into coming, and Keith bought them t-shirts, and then they took the shirts off and they became the shirtless herd, and it just became a party atmosphere. It was, to me, I'm like, that's what college athletics should be for the players, but also for just the normal student who went to Fordham. They had so much fun at those games, and that's what college athletics should be. And hopefully we'll be able to do that by engaging with the student body here.
Yeah, I remember we went down to Texas to Austin last year, early in the season, and just kind of saw their new arena, and talking with Chris Beard, like his theories and ideas about getting students involved. His biggest thing is you got to make it be like the party place to be. You got to make it be the thing that you can't miss. Right. So that's where students actually want to be, instead of being like, hey, you want to go to the game? Yeah, we're going to the game. This is going to be the best environment. All right. One thing I do want to push back on you on, you said that you had your most success when you were at Bucknell. You won a national championship when you were at Williams. You were at Williams when I got to Vassar, and Williams was the program. They were the one that everyone was looking up like, oh yeah, you know what? I wonder if we could ever be that good. You won a national title in 2003. You made the national title game in 2004. You had a stretch of 2 seasons where you went 61-3. So you know what the highest level of Division III basketball is, Dave. I want to ask you this. How much of a difference is there between that level of Division III and Division I basketball, in your opinion?
The best kids in Division III can play very, very well in Division I, certainly in the Patriot League. There's no question about it. In fact, there was a kid from Middlebury who was doing a 5th year, but we don't have graduate school. I would 100% have tried to recruit that kid. When I was at Williams, we took our team to Holy Cross in the fall of 2003 after we won the national championship, and we beat Holy Cross. And the 2 best players on the floor that night were Mike Crotty and Ben Coffin, our senior captains. And it wasn't close. Now, would they have been the best players as freshmen? No. I mean, a lot of the difference really comes down to size, whether it be a couple inches or, 10 or 15 pounds. And so in that case, Mike Crotty and Ben Coffin were able to play all the time as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, play through mistakes. And so they had that confidence going against maybe a little bit bigger, faster, stronger guys. But that's the difference, really, is, and that's probably the only difference between Patriot League play and A10 play. The best kids in the Patriot League can be phenomenal players in the A10, without a doubt. But it's just a matter of maybe an inch or two, or 10 or 15 pounds.
Yeah. So the NBA playoffs this year was just littered with guys that had unconventional paths to the NBA. Derek White started at Division II. Haywood Highsmith was Division II Player of the Year, I believe. Max Strus started out in Division II before going to DePaul. Jimmy Butler was at a small little JUCO in Texas. The biggest name, though, the one that everyone's going to know, Duncan Robinson from Williams, your alma mater. Does it feel weird saying that you share the alma mater with a guy that is out there dropping 10 points in the quarter in the NBA Finals?
I think you should ask Duncan Robinson if it's weird to share it with the head coach at Holy Cross. I think no. It's cool. It's really cool. And that's a cautionary tale to me, because I watched him play for Mike Crotty. He was only getting Division III interest. I was at Bucknell. And Mike wasn't mentioning him. I'm like, that kid's got the best jump shot I've ever seen. But he was really skinny. And he was not moving his feet to defend at all. And if I had more guts, I would have tried to recruit him, and we would have gotten him at Bucknell because that was the only Division One. And I recruited for a need. I recruited for a positional need for a guy who ended up being, average at best. So I always use the Duncan Robinson story to my staff. Like, I don't care who other people are recruiting. And like, if we see a guy we think is going to be really good, like, just got to trust our gut. But it's a really cool story. And especially for Duncan Robinson, who had great success. And then last year didn't play as much. His role was smaller. And we're like, is he going to keep going and prospering? And he had a phenomenal playoff.
He's a guy that is a great example to use for coaches for just perseverance and keep trying to keep pushing and keep believing in yourself. All right. Last question I got for you. It's kind of open-ended, but you played Division III basketball. You spent 14 years as a head coach outside of the Division I ranks before you got your first Division I head coaching job. What do you still carry with you from those lower levels now that you are a Division I coach?
Well, I think number one, what I look for in recruiting is players who absolutely love the game. If you play Division III basketball, you're playing because you love the game. You're not getting a scholarship. You're not on national TV. And, I think one of our pillars is passion, and so to me, I do not want to recruit or coach kids who don't absolutely love the game. And that's something that we really try to factor in the recruiting process. And then I think the second thing that happens in Division III, you can't work with your players outside of the regular season. And so it's really incumbent upon your veteran leaders to quote unquote run the program in the off season, and how they structure the pickup games and some of the workouts really determines the success of your program. And I think, to me, where our teams have had success at the Division I level is where we can become a player-led program. That's where we're going to have the most success. If it's a coach-led program, we can only get so far. But when the players own that locker room, and when the players own the pickup games, and when the players are holding each other accountable, then you have something special. And I think, truthfully, Division III basketball can set an example for the rest of Division I in terms of those two aspects.
Dave, always appreciate your insight. Always appreciate catching up with you. Congrats on the job, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rob.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water, or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.